During the last episode, I'd picked up the chassis and also picked up the engine and all the other parts that generally put this car together. So, time to crack on. This isn't the first car I've ever built, race car wise. But each time you do it, you do have a little bit of a, oh my God, what have I started? Because there's so many bits, there's thousands of parts that go on this car. And the beauty of this car really is the fact that I've never had a car in this kind of extreme kit form where it's actually come with all the bolts, everything for every component, which makes it a lot easier. But still, you kind of look at it and go, there's a million questions, even though it's all here. So I'm going to start, I think, with the pedal box. I'm going to build that on the workbench here. Again, it's a kit. It's from Titan, and that just means you can build a pedal box as you want it, bolt it into the car. The bolt's already there. The hole's already there because we've already set the seat position. You've got 3 cylinders. Got front brake. You got rear, front, and clutch slave cylinder, so they all go on here. So I'm going to build that up first. Right, so that is built now. So we've got rear, front, clutch. So the pedal box is in place, but not bolted. It's going to be one of those where I'm going to try not to bolt anything in until I'm 100% happy, because typically it'll need taken out, back in several times to get it right. A lot of it's space frame chassis, so there's tubes everywhere. And so to run cables and fuel pipes and everything, you basically have to run it down one of these rails. So I've taken the seat out, which is just in temporarily. There's some brackets in here which have been made bespoke for my seat because it needs to be in a certain position, obviously, that suits me. They don't slide forward and back or anything like that. So these are in just loosely. I'm going to take them out, get them painted, and get them out of the way. I've got this bubble wrap down in an attempt to not scratch the floor. See how that pans out. I think I'm going to put these back in so I don't lose the bolts. So in here, it's echoey because it's that big. Right, so it is a very straightforward empty trailer at the moment. It's got loads of fixings everywhere. I've just purchased this tyre rack, which I'm just making now, just bolting it together. It's actually not for this trailer, I've realised, but that's no problem, it fits, and it's just a case I've now got to drill some holes in the floor, which should be fairly easy, but one of the issues you have, it's all galvanised, and that does seem to cause a lot of problems for getting drill bits through. So you can buy these from Brian James Trailers, and they literally have all the bolt holes, everything, you just bolt it in. So I'm just squaring it up, I'm just tightening the nuts and bolts on that to get all the legs straight and everything. Then I'll start putting some fixings in. Nice rack. That bolted in really nice actually. The last trailer I had, when I tried to drill through the plates, it was just impossible. This is a bit softer, so it's easy to put bolts through, which is great. So step 1 done, put a tyre rack in. Lots more to do. Next job on the car is to put some clips along this tube, and that'll allow me to run the electrical cables and the fuel cables and the brake lines down it. The clips I'm using, just these tiny little plastic ones. They're suitable for the job, and you just put a pop rivet through, and then you can feed a cable tie in. That does the trick, and it's neat and tidy. Well, I've got to say, after doing up a couple of cars from 1985, this is pure pleasure. It is fantastic to work on. I think I've got over the sort of initial bit where I was really daunted. So, just getting all these fixings on for the inside that I know. The ones I definitely know need to go where they're going, I'm putting in, and then any additional I have to put on as I go. But I'm trying to get it as prepped as I can, so when I start feeding cables and pipes through, they've got somewhere to go. Right, I've got to drill a hole through the rear firewall for the fuel line to go through. So the fuel line's 14mm hole, which I've got to make it as tight as I can because it's a firewall for a reason. And then I've got this rubber O-ring which I can fit into the hole, and that'll just stop anything chafing, which will be a really bad thing. So I've got these, a couple of these funky drill bits, which I think I've only used that one once. So it'll be a bit of a learning curve, but when I see it on, people do it on YouTube, it looks really easy. Perfecto! Hey! Right, so I've fed a cable through here. I need to feed another one, but master switch goes there. So that goes there. You have a clip, then you can turn it on that way. So what we'll probably do, needs to be positioned so there'll be a cable here that goes round the car so the marshal can pull it and it turns the power off. So I need to get that in the right position. Right, so I've fed that through. It's obviously way too long, so I need to cut it down. It's going to come down here. I'll get the fixings on, and then the cable will go through here. There'll be a bolt on the other side, and then when you pull the emergency stop, it will pull that. There's a little hole in there. And then I'll shorten the excess cable. There'll be something on there to hold that, so when you pull this and it takes that off. I'll just tighten that up while I'm at it. So when I pull this, the master switch should pull off. Perfect. Right, I've found a bit of a rhythm now to what I'm doing. So I'm actually starting in the middle, because this is kind of where everything comes through the middle. So I want to get all that in fairly early on, because then the front and the rear can start doing one at a time. But I think I'm going to stick with doing the middle first. So power cables, brake lines, fuel lines, and work my way from the middle. Time for some more exercise, so I'm going to move that stack of pallets over there. That should get me fit. I want to talk differentials now. So as you can see on this workbench here, I've got, well, 7 differentials. And the reason we need so many differentials is because there's lots of different types and there's lots of different gear ratios. So first thing to know, on an oval racing national hot rods, you don't change gear. Once you select first to pull away, then you go to second or third gear. Second and third gears are very, very close together in terms of ratio. So change from second to third in national hot rod, you're talking probably 250 revs difference, whereas obviously in a car it's more like 1,000 or so. The reason being, day to day the tracks will change in terms of speed, obviously weather conditions, and if there's any oil on the track, etc, etc. Plus if you're in traffic and you need to get through the traffic a bit easier, you tend to go on the lower gear, so you've got that power. And then if you're out on your own, which is very rare, but if that's the case, you put it into third and you can go a little bit faster and save a bit of engine wear, etc. So there's many reasons to have multiple differentials. So each track is not exactly the same size, and because you can't change gear, or you shouldn't be changing gear because you go a lot slower, you need to change the ratio of the differential. So this is the kind of the old school way of doing it. You would change the differential ratio depending on what track you go to. But given the cost of these now, and given the rarity, and given the slightly more modern gearboxes from the old days, it's actually just as easy and a lot cheaper to run one differential and change the gear ratios for each track. There's actually 3 different ratios here. There's a 3.9, 3.7 and 3.5. So 3.5 are on the faster tracks, then you go to a 3.7 on a slightly slower track, and then you get with 3.9 on the smallest tracks. We tend to use 3 different types of differential as well in how they work, because obviously they're all limited slip diffs in one way or another, because when you accelerate out the corner you want the drive going through both tyres. If it's no limited slip diff, it's just going to spin one wheel up like it might do in your road car. The first one is what we'd call a plated limited slip diff. So these have been around forever, commonly known as a Salisbury diff, and it's simply the fact that you can change, once you set this diff up, you can change the amount of resistance there is between each wheel. So if you want it really stiff, you go to sort of about 80 pounds of torque before each wheel will actually turn independently, and then some people run them down as low as 30. It's really down to your preference and how your car drives, but it really massively affects the handling of the car. It's probably been the most common diff over the years, and it gives a very consistent sort of feedback. However, talking of consistency, if you do overheat them, then you lose a load of the torque and the car won't handle the same. Here we have an ATB diff, very, very common. It's built by Quaife. It's something you can use on the road really well. It really does a bit of everything. Very different to the Salisbury diff. So the Salisbury diff, regardless of whether you're accelerating or braking or off the power, the torque between the 2 wheels stays the same. So they'll both try and go at the same speed unless the torque between the 2 wheels changes enough to break that limited slip bit, and that's what allows you to turn the corner. If you were having a solid diff at the back, so no differential, no slip, if you like, the car would always want to go straight on, or it'd want to go sideways. It wouldn't want to go round the corner because the 2 rear wheels have got to go at different speeds. The ATB the beauty of that is when you come off the accelerator, it freewheels. So you've got no resistance between one wheel and the other. So when you turn into the corner, it tends to turn in nicer because it's not trying to go in a straight line. It allows you to turn a lot easier because those two rear wheels can go at different speeds. And then once you apply the power, it then starts to grip up and actually apply some limited slip on it. So therefore, when you're on the power, it's then trying to drive both wheels rather than just spinning one wheel up. So in many respects, you've got best of both worlds. It's going to turn into the corner really nice because you don't want too much grip on the rear. It's about the 5th take I've done of this. But when you accelerate, it gives you the power when you need it. The final diff I'm going to talk about is built by Elite, which it works in the same way as an ATB. So when you lift off the power, it freewheels. So therefore it gives you good turning. The big difference is when you put your foot on the power, this locks the diff. So both wheels will be locked and go at the same speed. So it gives you massive traction in the rear. On certain tracks, it might suit you. So if you've got a really tight hairpin, type track where the corners are really, really tight, this will give you lots of traction out the corner. However, it will murder your tyres and they will get very hot. So it's very specific to conditions and track. So that's it about diffs, I think, for now. I've rambled on a bit, but hey, hopefully you understood that. Thanks. Anyway, time to box them up and take them to JRD, who's the diff specialist, who's going to rebuild them and make sure they're absolutely mint. That's it for this week. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope it wasn't too geeky with all that diff talk. Next episode will be out soon, a lot quicker than this one. There was just a big gap because I was so busy with everything. So thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. See you next time.
Also try and join the party. 42 swoops round the outside. Dick Hillard the back marker. 2 laps to go and Shane Bland takes over. Swoop round the outside. It may not be done yet because 31's on the inside. 118 trying to fight through, but Shane Bland has got away. 22 to the inside, and what a battle in his second.